So I realize this has been a topic of conversation for years when it comes to Geno and Super Smash Bros. Because a lot of people wanted Geno in Smash. And we've been waiting and waiting and waiting to see if it would actually happen, but it never happened yet. So I'm hoping and praying in the next Super Smash Bros. Game it finally happens. Like, I feel like one of the things I really want to see most when it comes to the next Smash game is those highly requested characters over the years, because we have gotten some, don't get me wrong, King K. Rool, Ridley in the previous game, but I'm hoping, the other highly requested characters finally get their time to shine. And I wanted to give Geno some time to shine because he is relevant. He did have a remake of Super Mario RPG as of recent, a few years ago. So, I mean, he is in the topic of conversation now. But I want to talk about Geno in this video. So if you guys have any thoughts about Geno, let's talk about Geno in the comments. But let's get straight into this video. So when it comes to Geno getting into the next Smash Bros. Game, I feel like the first thing I gotta say right away is that this is not a new conversation at all. Like, this has been going on for years. And when I say years, I really mean that because Geno has been one of those characters that people have constantly brought up whenever the topic of new fighters comes up. And it's kind of crazy when you really sit there and think about it, how long that's been going on for. And what really stands out to me about that is the fact that this isn't just some random wave of hype that just comes and goes. This is something that has stuck around through multiple Smash games. Like, every time a new game is announced or even rumored, Geno is always one of the first names that people throw out there. That alone shows you how much people actually care about seeing him in the game. And I feel like a big reason for that is just the kind of character he is, because when you look at him in Super Mario RPG, he's not just some background character or anything like that. He actually has a presence. He has abilities. You could already imagine how that would translate into a Smash moveset, and I think that's something that makes people even more attached to the idea of him being playable. So for me, when I look at all of that, it just makes me feel like this is one of those characters that Nintendo really should have addressed by now. Because when you have a character that's been requested this long, it's not something you can just keep ignoring forever. And that's why I feel like Geno is still very much in the conversation going into the next Smash game. Now, another thing I gotta bring up is the whole situation with Geno being a Mii costume, because I feel like that's one of those moments that kind of gave people hope, but at the same time, it also left a lot of people feeling like it just wasn't enough. Because yeah, it's cool to see him represented in some way, but it's not the same as actually having him as a full character. Like, when I saw that he was a Mii costume, my first thought was basically like, okay, this is nice, but it also kind of feels like a tease because it shows that they haven't completely forgotten about him, but at the same time, they're not fully committed to putting him in the game either, and that's where that mixed feeling really comes from. And I know some people are fine with that, like they're just happy he's in the game in some form, but I feel like when a character has been requested as much as Geno has, you kind of expect more than that. Like, you want to actually play as him, see his full moveset, hear his music, and just experience everything that comes with him being a real fighter. So to me, the Mii costume situation just made me want him even more as an actual character, because it's like, we're right here, we're so close, but we're not fully there yet. And that's why I feel like the next Smash Bros. Game is the perfect opportunity to finally take that next step and make it happen. So now when we talk about Geno's chances today, I feel like one of the biggest things working in his favor right now is the fact that Super Mario RPG is actually relevant again, because with the remake coming out on the Nintendo Switch, it brought a lot of attention back to that game and all of its characters. And what I really like about that is the fact that it's not just people who played the original on the Super Nintendo anymore. Now you have a whole new group of players experiencing this game for the first time, and that includes Geno, which means more people are getting familiar with him and understanding why he's such a fan favorite in the first place. And I feel like that kind of timing is really important, because when a character is fresh in people's minds like that, it makes it way easier to justify adding them into something like Smash, especially when there's already a strong history of people asking for that character to begin with. So when I put all of that together, it just makes me feel like Geno actually has a better chance now than he did before, because it's not just about nostalgia anymore. It's about current relevance on top of that, and I think that combination really works in his favor going into the next Smash game. And I think this is really what it comes down to me, because when we eventually get to the next Smash Bros. Game, I feel like that's the moment where you really got to start paying off some of these long requested characters. And Geno is definitely one of the biggest examples of that, because at a certain point, it's like, how long can you keep having the same characters being brought up over and over again without actually doing anything with them, especially when the demand is clearly still there? Like, people haven't stopped asking for Geno, and I don't think they're going to anytime soon either. And I'm not saying every single requested character needs to get in, because that's just not realistic. But I do think there are certain characters that stand out more than others, and Geno is absolutely one of those characters, just based on his history, his popularity, and everything surrounding him. So yeah, when it comes to the next Smash Bros. Game, I really do believe that Geno has a fair chance of finally making it in, and more than anything, I just really hope they actually go through with it this time, because it would feel like such a satisfying payoff after all these years of people asking for him. So yeah, I really do hope that Geno does get in the next Super Smash Bros. Game, because Super Mario RPG was one of the best games on the Super Nintendo in my personal opinion. Like, I played that game so much as a kid when I had my hands on it, and I haven't touched the remake yet. I do own it on my Switch, but I feel like it's probably the same thing there. You know, you're reliving the story once again, but now in a modern format. And it's not just you playing it for the first time, it's also these other people from different generations playing it for the first time. And that's just one of the best things when it comes to things like this, where it's like you're getting all these other people introduced to a story that you experienced all those years ago, and they can finally feel the exact same love that you had once before for it. And I just really hope Geno gets it in, because Smash Ultimate, you know, they had a lot of heavy hitters when it came to highly requested characters, like I mentioned before. King K. Rool, Ridley, you got Banjo-Kazooie in there. Sephiroth was a pretty crazy character to put in there, because I was not expecting another Final Fantasy character in there outside of Cloud. But hey, that's awesome. I'm not going to complain about Sephiroth, but I just feel like you really need to pay it off here. And I really hope and pray that whenever you get the new Smash Bros. Game in the future, because I don't really care when it comes out, I just really hope that Geno's in, because it would just be a really satisfying moment, and it would make a lot of fans happy. But that's all I have to say here when it comes to this video. So if you guys have any thoughts of your own when it comes to how you feel about this certain topic, let me know in the comments. We could talk about it. And if you guys enjoyed this video, as always, be sure to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. If you guys want to follow me on my social media, be sure to check out my X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. All the links are located in the description below, so be sure to follow me on there. Be sure to check out my Discord server so we could talk about all the things that we love. That is pinned where it normally is. And also be sure to click on that bell for notifications so you guys are notified whenever I'm dropping a video on the channel. I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic day, wherever the day may be, if it's the daytime, the nighttime, or the evening. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, it's out.